Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well, Kamala Harris did it again. And of course you're asking, well, what did she do? Well, she ended her career once again. And now I know she didn't literally end her career because we don't exactly live in a real world, but in a sane and rational world, a moment like this would be exactly that, career ending. Little Kamala, she's not exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. She's got one frickin' job, and that's to present herself as something interesting and most importantly something different. And she obviously knows this. When Donald Trump tried to link her to her failed boss, Sleepy Creepy Piss Pants Joe, she pushed back pretty hard. "I'm not Joe Biden," Kamala says.
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me.
"Don't you ever associate me with Joe Biden. How dare you?" She understands that she has to make a clear distinction. She has to present herself as change even though she's more of the same thing. But see, little old Kamala here ain't very smart, and so she's blundered again. She's totally, royally effed up as she once again proves the critics right that she and Joe Biden are essentially the same thing. There's no difference. Now that she's assumed the role, she's completely abandoned and ditched essentially her entire political identity, and she's put on a new costume, basically wearing Joe Biden's skin. Let me show you guys this absolute blunder, another total tactical misstep, just an idiotic thing to say, another campaign-ending event that of course the media will completely ignore. So let's shed some light on it, shall we? We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so I pretty much laid the groundwork, I'd say, in the intro. Now just take a look at this moment.
Well, if anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Now that right there, in my view, is disqualifying. And it's actually not too dissimilar from a clip that we covered recently with Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, where she was asked point blank, "Do you guys regret all the reckless spending?" And she essentially said, no, we don't. It's the exact same thing. Yet again, what is on full display here is an unwillingness to take responsibility for one's actions. I don't know about you guys, but if we're talking about electing somebody to the highest position of power, that seems like a little bit of a red flag, no? You know, kind of disqualifying. To not have the ability to look in the past and realize that you might have done some things wrong, and maybe now it's time to pivot. It just continues to show that Kamala Harris is a political product and not actually an authentic leader or really an authentic human being, at least not in the way that she presents herself. I mean, after all the damage that these people caused, to respond like this is insane. You wouldn't go back and change a single thing. Not a single thing. That is patently insane. I mean, even Donald Trump, the supposed narcissist who never listens to anyone, well, even with him, we could point to a couple relatively recent examples where he's pivoted on his stances. Abortion immediately comes to mind. He's also recently pivoted and supported legalization of cannabis. You know, the list goes on and on and on. Donald Trump has always showed his what I call intellectual malleability. He's able to be convinced to change his perspective or change the path if he sees a better path or a better option. These people would never. Oh, did we print trillions of dollars, creating the greatest wealth divide in modern world history? Did we open the floodgates at the southern border and allow millions upon millions of people to walk on through, including gangsters, cartel members, and murderers? Oh, well, it is what it is, I guess. We don't regret a single bit of it. Absolutely freaking insane. And of course, she essentially confirms that she's not offering anything different. Nothing. It's the same old, same old. What a shocking clip. In fact, this clip was so shocking, so bad, that even a partisan left-wing panel on CNN was shocked by the response.
Done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Molly, what do you make of that?
I'm surprised, frankly, that she doesn't have more to say about this, given that she and her campaign know that this is one of the main questions that voters have about her. And one of the main things she's been trying to establish as part of her candidacy is the idea that she would represent a break from the past 4 years, and to not be able to come up with something to say in that moment. She continues to not be particularly nimble on her feet in a lot of these interviews, and this is a very obvious question that gave her an opportunity, frankly, to differentiate herself in a way that would have made news, that would have answered, I think, the curiosity of a lot of voters who want to know how she would lead differently, and she's not very specific in laying that out, and she can't point to a decision she would have made differently, which, in an electorate that thinks that doesn't like the way this administration has led and that doesn't like the track that the country is on, that may not be a very satisfactory answer.
I mean, it's a delicate dance.
And they're totally right. Of course, a broken clock is right twice a day, but let's give CNN credit where credit is due. Their analysis was pretty spot on. This is one of the most major issues for Americans right now. People are discontent with this administration. They're discontent with the current status quo. And what Kamala Harris is saying is that nothing is going to change. We regret nothing that we did. I mean, could you imagine that? Imagine somebody betrays you and they make decisions, they do something that harms you directly. Let's talk finances because, that's kind of what's going on. You have a family member who put you in a bunch of debt by doing something awful. How do you think you'd react if that family member then turned around and said, well, you know what? I don't regret any of it and I wouldn't do anything different. That's the ultimate betrayal now, isn't it? My question is, why is that the ultimate betrayal in your personal lives, but then in politics, you're supposed to take that crap? No frickin' way. Kamala's been exposed as the biggest fraud, period. I represent change and something new. No, you don't. And that's clearly evident with what you're saying. The only change you represent is, like I said in the intro, essentially adopting everything Joe Biden stands for. Actually, here's a clip from 60 Minutes that puts it into perspective.
Tell you what your critics and the columnists say.
Okay.
They say that the reason so many voters don't know you is that you have changed your position on so many things. You were against fracking, now you're for it. You supported looser immigration policies, now you're tightening them up. You were for Medicare for all, now you're not. So many that people don't truly know what you believe or what you stand for. And I know you've heard that.
In the last 4 years, I have been Vice President of the United States. And I have been traveling our country. And I have been listening to folks and seeking what is possible in terms of common ground. I believe in building consensus. We are a diverse people, geographically, regionally, in terms of where we are in our backgrounds. And what the American people do want is that we have leaders who can build consensus, where we can figure out compromise and understand it's not a bad thing, as long as you don't compromise your values, to find common sense solutions. And that has been my approach.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest fraud in politics. That's exactly who she is, and she continues to prove it. Well, I traveled the country and I realized that people have different priorities. But my priorities remain the same, and I'm still the same person. But I understand that, we need to govern in a certain way, but my values haven't changed. She's speaking out of both sides of her mouth constantly. Which one is it? Who is she? She's a total chameleon. Nobody frickin' knows. And as mentioned in that 60 Minutes interaction, people feel that way. People feel as though they don't know Kamala Harris. And many people are open to getting to know her. They want to know more about her. And they want to feel, maybe a little bit more secure in the sense that they're not getting the same failed thing that they've had for the last 4 years. But of course, that ain't happening. It's more of the same old, same old. No regrets. I guess that means more open borders, more wasteful spending, more foreign wars and pouring fuel on the geopolitical flames. This person is a complete disgrace and belongs nowhere near the levers of power. It's disqualifying moment after disqualifying moment. I mean, that's not even the only one. Speaking of the 60 Minutes interview, there was also this.
I've been covering the border for years. And so I know this is not a problem that started with your administration.
Correct.
But there was an historic flood of undocumented immigrants coming across the border the first 3 years of your administration. As a matter of fact, arrivals quadrupled from the last year of President Trump. Was it a mistake to loosen the immigration policies as much as you did?
It's a long-standing problem. And solutions are at hand. And from day one, literally, we have been offering solutions.
What I was asking was it a mistake to kind of allow that flood to happen in the first place?
I think the policies that we have been proposing are about fixing a problem, not promoting a problem. Okay?
But the numbers did quadruple.
And the numbers today, because of what we have done, we have cut the flow of illegal immigration by half.
But should you
we
have
have
done
cut
that?
the
Should
flow
you
of
have done
fentanyl by half, but we need Congress to be able to act to actually fix the problem.
You know, she can't answer these questions, and it's obvious that she can't be honest with the people. She can't be honest with herself, she can't be honest with the policy, and she can't be honest with the American voter. She's just squirming and worming her way, or attempting to, on every single challenging issue, and she continuously expresses no regret, takes no accountability for her awful track record. She is the absolute worst, and that right there, friends, remains crystal frickin' clear. I mean, what a walking, talking disaster. She had the easiest media interview lineup imaginable. She went on The View, this show.
I would say to those Republicans out there who are sitting on the fence, just do it this one time. Do it this one time. Vote for the Democrat to save the country. Listen to Liz Cheney.
She went on a show that's entire purpose is to work diligently to get her elected, and she still managed to screw it all up. That's a special kind of stupid right there. If she ends up winning in November, I don't know about you guys, but I'm gonna have some serious freaking questions. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.